My sister got the inheritance. I got $1, until the lawyer read the second part aloud. The lawyer slid a single page toward me and said, in the same calm voice people use to read train schedules, and to Megan Whitfield, the sum of $1. The paper made a soft sh sound against the polished wood table. My sister Harper's heel tapped twice under her chair, and she didn't even bother hiding her smile, just let it spread across her face like she'd been waiting months to finally win out loud. The office smelled faintly of coffee and copier toner, and the air conditioning was set too cold, the kind that makes your fingertips go numb. I stared at the line with my name on it, the dollar one sitting there like a joke, and my throat tightened so hard I couldn't swallow. The lawyer's assistant kept her eyes down, pen poised over a notepad, pretending she couldn't feel the room shift. I gripped my handbag strap in my lap and forced myself to breathe through my nose. Harper leaned back, crossed her arms, and looked at me like she expected me to cry on cue. Well, she murmured, not quite whispering, that's something. Her tone made it clear she thought I deserved even less. I felt heat rise behind my eyes, but I didn't let it spill. I'd spent too many years swallowing feelings in front of Harper because she always used them like proof that I was weak. The lawyer cleared his throat and adjusted his glasses like he was about to move on. If we can, he said, I'll continue. Harper's smile widened, like she was preparing to hear the rest of the list of things she now owned. I opened my mouth, then closed it again, because what do you even say when your grandfather's last written words about you are $1? It was a rainy Thursday in late October when we sat in that office, 3 weeks after my grandpa Frank died. Harper and I hadn't been alone in a room together in years without it turning into a quiet competition over who had suffered more. We're only 18 months apart, close enough in age that people always assumed we were best friends growing up. We weren't. Harper learned early how to be charming in public and cutting in private. I learned early how to keep the peace. Our grandpa was the one adult in our family who saw the difference and didn't pretend it was just sister stuff. After our dad died, Mum spiraled for a while. Not dramatically, not in the movie way, more like she stopped paying bills on time, forgot permission slips, slept through half the day. Grandpa Frank stepped in quietly. He'd show up with groceries, leave cash in an envelope on the counter, fix things around the house without making a speech about it. When Harper and I got older, he helped me with school fees when Mum couldn't. He helped Harper too, but Harper always framed it as something she was owed. I remember one Christmas when Grandpa gave us both checks in identical envelopes. Harper tore hers open and said, loud enough for him to hear, finally, like it was late rent. By the time Grandpa got sick, Harper was the one physically nearby. She lived 10 minutes away. I lived 2 states over, because my job took me there. That fact became Harper's favorite weapon. You left, she'd say whenever we argued. You weren't here. And it was true, I wasn't there in the daily sense. But I was the one calling doctors, paying for the mobility aids Grandpa was too proud to ask for, setting up grocery delivery, arranging a cleaner when he couldn't keep up. I was the one on the phone with him late at night when he was scared and didn't want to admit it to Harper because she'd turn it into a story about herself. Harper, meanwhile, moved into Grandpa's house to help. That's what she told everyone. In reality, she was between jobs again, and her lease had ended, and Grandpa didn't know how to say no to his granddaughter, even when she made his life heavier. He once joked to me on the phone, voice low so she wouldn't hear, I've got a roommate who eats like a teenage boy and watches TV like it's her job. Then he went quiet and said, don't worry. I'm handling it. Grandpa always handled things quietly. When he died, Harper posted a long Facebook message about being his caregiver and holding his hand until the end. She took selfies in his kitchen with casseroles people dropped off. She wrote, family is everything, like she hadn't screamed at him 2 months earlier because he asked her to stop borrowing his car without asking. I saw it because a cousin sent me screenshots with a single line, are you okay? I told myself I didn't care. I did care. I just didn't want to give Harper the satisfaction of watching it land. So when the lawyer read $1, I felt something in me fold in on itself. Not because of the money, exactly. Grandpa could have left me nothing, and I would have understood if it had made sense.
It was the symbolism.
$1 wasn't forgetfulness. $1 was a statement. Harper's eyes flicked to the lawyer again, hungry. So, she said, tapping her nails lightly against the table, the house is mine, right? Because he told me. Ms. Whitfield, the lawyer said gently, I'm not finished. Harper waved a hand.
Sure.
Keep going. The lawyer nodded and continued reading, listing assets in that dull legal rhythm: vehicle, tools, personal property. Harper perked up when he mentioned Grandpa's antique watch collection and the cabin up north. Every time he said to Harper, her smile grew. Every time he said to Megan, my stomach clenched, bracing for another tiny humiliation. The assistant's pen scratched quietly, relentless, like we were just numbers in a ledger. Then the lawyer paused and closed the folder, carefully, like he was switching gears. That concludes the will, he said. Harper let out a little satisfied breath, like she'd been holding it. She looked at me with open triumph now. Guess Grandpa knew who actually showed up, she said softly. Her voice had that fake sympathy edge, the one she used to get away with cruelty in front of adults. Don't worry, Meg. $1 can buy, like, a coffee. I didn't answer. My ears were ringing. My hands felt cold and heavy. I stared at the table and tried not to let my face do anything. If I looked hurt, Harper would store it like fuel. The lawyer didn't stand up. He didn't start gathering papers. He just reached for a second folder on the side table, thicker than the first, and placed it in front of him. There is, he said, a second part. Harper's smile faltered. Just for a second, like a glitch. What do you mean, a second part? She asked. The lawyer flipped the folder open. Frank Whitfield established a living trust, he said, voice still measured, and he also left a letter to be read aloud at this meeting. He glanced at each of us, like he was checking whether we were about to throw something. It is addressed to both of you. My chest tightened. Harper sat straighter, suspicion replacing smugness. A letter? She repeated, and her voice sharpened. The lawyer unfolded a single sheet of paper, the kind with Grandpa's familiar slanted handwriting scanned at the top, and began reading. Harper and Megan, he read, if you're hearing this, then I'm gone, and you're probably sitting in that office feeling like you're fighting over me. I don't want that. But I also know you. Harper's jaw clenched. My throat burned suddenly, hot and painful, because it sounded like Grandpa. It sounded like him cutting through nonsense with one calm sentence. The lawyer continued. Harper, you've always been good at making people believe you. You are charming. You are loud. You can fill a room. But you have also been careless with other people's safety and money. You borrowed from me without asking. You treated my home like it was yours before it was ever earned. Harper's face flushed bright red. This is, she started, but the lawyer held up one hand, not unkindly, just firm. Megan, he read, you have been the one who does things quietly. You don't ask to be seen. You don't demand credit. You also let people take advantage of that. Including your sister. Including me sometimes, because I worried you wouldn't let me help if I made it too emotional. My eyes stung. I pressed my nails into my palm under the table to keep from reacting. The assistant's pen had stopped moving. The lawyer went on. To Harper, I have left the residue of my probate estate, including my personal property and vehicle. I have also left you $1 in the trust, so you cannot say I forgot you. The rest is not yours to spend. Harper blinked rapidly. What rest? She demanded, voice rising. The lawyer didn't look up. He kept reading like he'd been trained to hold steady through storms. The house on Oak Ridge Lane, the cabin, and the investment accounts are held in the Frank Whitfield Family Trust. The trustee is Megan Whitfield. The beneficiary distributions are as follows. Harper made a sharp sound, half laugh, half choke.
No, she said.
No, that's not. Megan Whitfield is to receive the house and cabin, the lawyer read, as well as the investment accounts, to be administered at her discretion. Megan is instructed to sell the cabin if she chooses and use it to pay any remaining debts, then keep the remainder or use it to further her education or stability. I felt dizzy. The words didn't immediately make sense. My brain kept getting stuck on trustee like it was a foreign language. Harper stood up so fast her chair scraped hard against the floor. "This is ridiculous," she snapped. "She doesn't even live here. I took care of him. I lived with him." The lawyer finally looked up, and his face was calm but tired, like he'd already anticipated this exact reaction. "Ms. Whitfield," he said, "your grandfather anticipated conflict. The trust is legal and properly executed." He also included a no-contest clause. If either party contests, they forfeit what they've been given. Harper's hands curled into fists. "So she gets everything," she said, voice shaking with fury. "And I get $1? The lawyer flipped to another page. "You also receive your grandfather's personal effects as listed in the will," he said. And he hesitated a fraction. "You receive the debts associated with the vehicle you have been using, because it is in your name." Harper's mouth opened, then shut. For the first time, she looked genuinely rattled. Not hurt. Not sad. Cornered. The lawyer finished the letter, and the last line landed quietly, like Grandpa's hand settling on my shoulder. "Megan," he read, "I'm sorry you had to learn strength the hard way. Don't let guilt make you small. Harper will say you're stealing. You're not. You are protecting what I built from being burned down." The room was silent except for the rain tapping the window. My heart was pounding so hard I could feel it in my fingertips. Harper stared at me like she didn't recognize me anymore. Not because I'd changed, but because the power dynamic had. I didn't feel victorious. I felt hollow. I felt like I'd been punched and hugged at the same time. Harper grabbed her bag, eyes blazing. "You're going to regret this," she hissed at me, like I had written the trust myself. "You always thought you were better than me." I finally spoke, and my voice came out quiet.
"No," I said.
"I always thought I had to make myself smaller, so you didn't explode." Harper's lips trembled, and for a second I saw something almost human. Fear, maybe, or the shock of consequences. Then it hardened again. She turned and stormed out, heels clicking down the hallway. After she left, the lawyer slid a sealed envelope across the table toward me. "Your grandfather asked that you open this after the reading," he said. My hands shook as I picked it up. Inside were keys. House keys, cabin keys, and a short note in Grandpa's handwriting. "You don't owe anyone your future." I sat in my car afterward and didn't start the engine for 10 minutes. The parking lot smelled like wet asphalt. My phone buzzed with a text from Harper. "This isn't over." I stared at it until the screen dimmed, then set the phone face down and put both hands on the steering wheel like I was anchoring myself. The practical part came later. Transferring utilities, meeting with the lawyer again, walking through Grandpa's house and feeling him in every creak of the floor. The emotional part came in small waves, seeing my old height marks on the pantry door, finding the mug he used every morning, reading his note again until the words blurred. Harper tried to rally relatives, of course. She told people I'd stolen everything. A couple of cousins believed her. Most didn't, especially once the lawyer explained the trust and the letter. Mom called me crying, torn between daughters, and I told her, gently but firmly, "I'm not fighting Harper anymore. Grandpa made a choice. I'm going to respect it." I still feel sad sometimes. I miss the idea of a sister relationship I never really had. But for the first time, I don't feel like I'm begging for a seat at a table that keeps moving away from me. Thanks for watching, and if you've ever been blindsided by family and then shocked by what the fine print revealed, share your story in the comments. I'd really like to hear it.